Does drinking alcohol the day before blood work affect your results? Here's what we've learned, and I'll explain in this video the markers that you want to be aware of, like your glucose levels, your insulin levels, your ALT, AST. These can all be impacted by alcohol. And so there's a certain time frame that you want to give yourself if you're worried about alcohol impacting blood labs. And unfortunately, I wish I could tell you that alcohol is healthy, it's great, your labs are going to look even better, but I just haven't seen it. I keep looking though, because like you, I mean, it'd be nice if alcohol was healthy, because sometimes it's nice to have a drink. But if you really want to have optimal health, if you want to create this ageless future, in this video I'm going to deconstruct what alcohol actually does to your blood labs and to your body. And so let's jump in. So I'm Regan Archibald, founder of Ageless Future. We believe in people's ability to get healthier every single year of their life by applying the right essential habits, the right lifestyle, and then applying principles of Medicine 4.0, using peptide therapy, using nutrition, using stem cell therapy, microbiota transplant, all these things that are available today. You don't have to wait for the future to create your agelessness now. So what does alcohol do to the body? Well, first of all, when alcohol is being metabolized, it does cause a spike in blood sugar because alcohol is some of the most refined sugar on the planet. And there's a reason why humans have been gravitating towards alcohol for centuries, is because alcohol does seem to suppress the central nervous system, which sometimes that suppression of the central nervous system, it allows your body to relax. You get this GABA expression, and it gives you some release of those inhibitions that you may not like. And so when it comes to your blood labs, the things you want to look for is you're going to look at your fasting glucose, because when you input a bunch of sugar into your body the day before, and then with blood labs, we want you fasted for about 8 hours. And so your blood sugar is really high at night, insulin comes in, sweeps it down. So you may have blood labs where your fasting glucose looks low. The other thing that can happen is if you drink a lot, and when I say a lot, it varies from each individual. For me, one full drink is a lot of alcohol. Like, I'm a very cheap date. So my blood sugar might even be high if I drink one. If I drink two, it may still be high. But more than likely it would drop and get low. And that's one of the reasons why when you drink alcohol, yes, you can fall asleep pretty easy, but at like 2 or 3 in the morning, you're waking up and you're hungry. And that's because your blood sugar gets too high, and then insulin comes in, sweeps it out, and it drops too low. And so the liver, because alcohol, it's called ethanol. And so it's a sugar that your body, your liver has to metabolize first. It prioritizes ethanol metabolism over glucose. So it's going after that very first, and it can start to damage the liver. And then one thing the liver does at night to keep our blood sugar stable is it's called gluconeogenesis. So the liver is always pushing a little bit of sugar into the blood. So when you look at your blood labs, one of the first things, so we call this like the key priority, is fixing the metabolic system in your body. There's a great book by Benjamin Bickman called Why We Get Sick. And he, in detail, outlines all of the mechanisms of insulin resistance and how he believes that's the crux of all diseases in the body, like high blood pressure, even bone mineral density issues, loss of muscle. And so if you look at alcohol as the most refined processed sugar, or ethanol, the most toxic sugar that we consume, it's top of the list. And a lot of people, not in a prohibition or anything like that, but I just can't find the data that supports the use of alcohol for long-term health. However, there are some other benefits, like thinning of the blood, that you may want to consider when it comes to alcohol. The other thing that you want to look for is, now that your blood sugar may be too high or too low, it's insulin resistance. So you look at your fasting insulin levels, and you see that fasting insulin may also be suppressed because the liver's temporary shift, where the liver goes into gluconeogenesis, trying to stabilize the glucose because it focused on metabolizing the ethanol first. So you may get a wrong report when it comes to fasting insulin. And then you start to see this other marker called C-peptide start to increase, because C-peptide is a protein that cleaves to insulin, and when it's overexpressed, that means there's inflammation or damage to the pancreas. So a lot of times alcoholics, they end up with pancreatitis because of the C-peptide, because the pancreas is trying so hard to regulate blood sugar. So alcohol is very abusive to the body. And yes, I know I've had a lot of fun times with alcohol, and once again, this is not a moral conversation. This is just a conversation about really starting to identify the future version of yourself and determining what are you not willing to do anymore? Because if you're looking to increase your health in the shortest amount of time possible, one of the things we ask you to do when we run your blood labs is we will look at those and we'll say, hey, for 60 days, we want to do a complete reset in your body. And that means getting rid of alcohol, processed food, sugar. We want you to start exercising. And it's a lifestyle adaptation that you'll have with you your entire life. And then if you want to drink occasionally, once your liver enzymes look healthy, your blood sugar's stable, then that's okay. I had a conversation with one of my close friends who I also work on his health. He still has this pre-diabetic tendency, and he just turned 50, and he's like, I want to be superhuman. And I'm like, well, here's the problem is, I know you want to get to this goal, but there's some things you're going to have to get rid of if you want to accelerate and make the progress you're looking for. And one of those is alcohol. And we've had the conversation before, and he's like, oh, I know. It's just there's so many social functions, and he's very well known. He travels around the world. So he made the commitment again. He's made it before, just to get rid of alcohol. He's like most of us. It's like once you break the seal, and it's like, great, I had a drink on my birthday or whatever, or Christmas, and then that drink, it bleeds into the next night, and you're like, oh, it's close enough to the holiday. Then the next night, you're at some social function, and you're like, well, I drank yesterday, I may as well drink today. And before you know it, you've got a string of drinking 3 to 5 times per week, or maybe every day, and it goes on for the entire year. And then you come back to New Year's Eve and you're like, oh, I should get rid of alcohol, and you do the dry January. And so the thing you could do today is you can just decide, like, is alcohol going to be something I want to bring with me into the future? Does it really have the benefits that I need? Why is it that I'm seeking alcohol in the first place? What's it really doing for me socially and emotionally? But if you can get to the underlying cause, it may help. The other thing that alcohol is going to trigger is an increase in the enzymes AST and ALT. Even moderate drinking, you'll see this temporary spike. And that can give you a false assumption of having liver pathology, but it can also give you a reality that your liver is starting to get fibrotic, because processing ethanol, that starts to damage the liver, and then that ethanol, if you combine it with fats, you end up having higher levels of triglycerides. I have clients, and I've seen blood labs where people eat incredibly clean. And I don't mean clean like they wash their food. I mean clean like they're eating like grass-fed beef, they're eating organic chicken, they are eating produce that they grow themselves, but their liver is damaged, and it's because they also drink alcohol. And especially if you have propensity to mycotoxin or mold illness, if you live in a moldy place, you think of the number one place where we pick up molds is from alcohol. Maybe like some of you, I do enjoy a great glass of wine, and the older that vintage is, the more mycotoxin exposure you're going to have. Is fermented, and it's fermenting in that bottle, and so you just want to be very careful about what you're drinking. So if you're looking at how well your body tolerates it, look at ALT, look at AST, look at GGT, and this is the gamma glutamyl transferase, and it can show you how well your detoxification is. You also want to look at a marker called homocysteine, because what we do know of alcohol is it does disrupt the barriers in your gut, so it causes leaky gut. And when you have leaky gut, you're going to have a leaky blood-brain barrier, and so your brain is going to have more inflammation in it, which will be reflective in that marker. You'll also see alcohol completely obliterates your B1 levels, so your thiamine. It can also lower your B6 and vitamin B12. All those are for energy production. So even a single night of drinking can disrupt your blood labs. And then in the long term, you look at the inflammatory markers called C-reactive protein that can show your cardiovascular risks. And so the ideal thing to do, if you're getting your blood work done, abstain from alcohol 48 to 72 hours, and then have the deeper conversation about alcohol, what your relationship is like with it, why you need it, and that will help just accelerate your progress when it comes to health. So if you're somebody who is like, man, I want to go deeper, I want to learn how to detox my body, I want to know the right peptides to take to heal my body and heal my liver. Tesamorelin has been clinically shown to help reverse fibrotic livers. BPC 157, thymosin beta 4, these are all phenomenal. Lorazepam to help seal up those tight gap junctions. And then using like SS31 to repair the mitochondria, that could be life-changing for you. And if you want to go deeper, go to agelessfuture.com, schedule a free health span assessment, and then let's run the blood work for you to see where your numbers land. Let's get that benchmark, and then we can help you accelerate your health. So I'm Regan Archibald. Appreciate you being part of this community. I'll see you on the next video.